So hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time I show you the game between Andscacs 0.91, so a slightly older version of Adscacs, and GreKo 8.2 with black, and we have the first move calculated by Adscacs, the move knight f3. I will probably go for bishop to g4 here, but after bishop e2. Not sure if you want to give up that bishop for that knight. Well, actually, if you do this, then this pawn hangs. It doesn't, because of queen here check winning the knight, and also bishop here is an idea. So you cannot take the c pawn. So you're probably not sure if you want to give up that bishop for that knight. So we have the move g6, foreshadowing that dark square bishop from black. And now most probably bishop e2 anyway, because bishop to d3 just looks at this pawn here, and this doesn't make sense. Bishop here also preparing castling, so let's say bishop to g7, castles, and knight to c3. We'll play something like this, and not sure. Either I would go bishop here, targeting that pawn, or I will go knight to c6 and look for something else, going after this d4 pawn at some point when this knight leaves. So maybe bishop g4 and knight c6, going after the d4 pawn. Although I don't really like that plan. This plan is slightly more direct, but what is after d5? And you can go bishop here, and this knight here has a nice square here on c5 or via this route. It doesn't really matter. This knight can jump away and come in on either of these squares, either on c5 or e5. You can always capture this knight here, damage white's pawn structure, so black's position here shouldn't be that bad. And we have here bishop g7 and now castles, so we are in this line I just analyzed. And now it's GreKo's turn again. GreKo thinks knight c6 is a good move. Here immediately targeting this pawn or putting pressure on it, on this d4 pawn. But yeah, well, pushing it opens up the bishop even more. And you have this square for the knight. So not sure if you want to do this, although you can push it away with f4, maybe go f5 at some point. Maybe after all this, castles, and now bishop to here, trying to go f5. What is black doing with this knight? Probably knight here is a good idea, but then you cannot go b4 because this knight is hanging. So you'd have to protect this knight first, but then maybe a5 to strengthen this square right here. White can go there. Knight c5, bishop goes back. Now, yeah, well, you don't want to capture this pawn, at least I don't think so. I don't know where white's attack is going here. Probably nowhere, so knight c6 is a valuable move, but you don't have to push d4. You can just keep on developing. Knight to c6, for example. Then castles. Oh, we have d4 by Adscacs. Kicking the knight immediately, and now knight e5. Most probably knight takes, bishop takes, and f4. This is my line here. Bishop goes back, and now knight to c3. Castles, bishop here, knight there, bishop there, a5, f5. This is the line I calculated. But we don't have this. We have another move. Here we have knight here. Okay, this is an interesting move because it's immediately targeting this pawn right here. And you cannot play b6, but you can just ignore it, I think. You can just play knight here. Because after takes, you have this queen here, which is check and attacking the knight. So this is not possible to take it immediately, but you can just castle. And now b6 is still not possible because the knight is hanging. So you kind of have to do something about this. Bishop here, but then this pawn is hanging. So maybe knight c6 is a little bit slow. Knight a5, knight c3 is a little bit slow, I think. You can go knight a3 to protect the pawn that way. Yeah, and Andscacs did this. Knight a3, and now most probably castling or bishop d7 is what GreKo calculates. Now we'll go away with the rook b1, trying to go b4. Let's say, you cannot castle right here, because b4 is somewhat trapping the knight. So, yeah, what to do after rook b1? That's the question. Probably bishop here, attacking the queen. This is just temporarily. The queen can move. Queen here, for example. And then b4 is still threatened. Also, the knight is immediately under attack. And what to do with that knight? Here you have to move this knight to defend it. But then b4 just traps the knight, right? So I'm not sure about this. Bishop d7 we have, queen d2 immediately. So, yeah, queen d2. Attack targeting the knight. This is probably best. Now you have to move this knight to keep on protecting that one. So now the queen is defending the knight. And yeah, what to do here? b4 is not possible because the rook is hanging. So yeah, rook b1 here. But then you can go b6. And the knight has a square. So what about rook here immediately? Instead of queen b2, rook here immediately, threatening b4. Yeah, rook b1 we have. Knight a4 or rook c8. Yeah, rook c8 is targeting against c4 now. Now b4 doesn't work because this knight can just capture on c4. So let's say b3. This knight here on the rim is either good or a target. Not sure. But when the queen lands on this d2 square, this knight has to go to a8. Okay, we don't have rook c8. We have different move. After rook b1, we have the move knight here, targeting this pawn over there. And what about b4 here? This is just trapping the knight, or is there a trick? Bishop here maybe. Bishop takes, knight takes, rook takes, and you still cannot take there. So bishop here doesn't work. So what about b4? Here just trapping the knight. Don't understand this. Oh, because knight here forks rook and queen. So takes, but then you still have the problem with that knight. And then you can give it up like this, probably here. This is also better for white, I think, but it's not that clear. Knight c3, queen here, knight takes rook. Okay, we have now queen d2. We have rook b1 and knight a4, followed by queen d2 here. But now this knight is defended. I will play b3 here. But then this knight, yeah, this knight can jump into c5. But what about this? Forking those knights. So this is slightly annoying here, this position for black already. I think black has overpushed it a little bit. Yeah, GreKo thinks it's better for white, and Andscacs also thinks it's much better for white, so it should be better for white after queen here. Now we have to move b6. I will play b3 followed up with b4. You could also go b4 immediately and target this knight via queen here. But this, no, the knight is defended, so you cannot do this. So you should go b3 first. Yeah, but still knight to here is an idea. Attacking the rook, and if the rook moves, then knight to here is an idea, so that's also not quite working. So b6 is a good move there. So what to play here with white after b6? Knight f3 d4 is calculated. Knight to d4 and played. Is the idea of knight d4? Okay, it's blocking the bishop's view to c3, so now b3 threatened. So if castles b3, because now there is no knight jumping into c3, and if the knight comes in here, then d4, but this still it's not so clear. Knight coming in here, attacking the queen. Queen here, bishop takes knight, takes here. Knight f3, still this knight is attacked and now this is lost, so knight d4 is interesting. So that's why we don't have castles, we have knight to b6, knight to b7. Now still I will go b3, b7, still I will go here this kind of stuff, kick the knight back, and now you can do something else. You can maybe try and push. You can also, well, I'm not sure about that. This you can, no, you're not jumping in, you can just take it. Takes and take the bishop with an attack on the queen, and then you have time to move the rook. But this is not, but you have to do something with the c1 bishop. Here we have to move b3. Knight c5 and queen e3 is calculated by GreKo. b3, knight c5 and b4 is calculated by Adscacs. b4 followed by knight a4. Yeah, again knight a4 and then knight to c6. Knight to c6. What about knight c6? Bishop takes, pawn takes, attacking this knight. Okay, this knight has no squares, so you cannot take this knight, so the queen has to move. Let's say the queen moves there. And now you can solidify this knight. But okay, then one of those knights, probably this one, can come here, also supporting this knight, and this c5 square is also quite juicy. And yeah, I don't know, queen here, threatening mate. You can either go bishop to f6 or push the pawn. I'm not sure if you can push the pawn. You can also eliminate the knight. But giving white the passed pawn is... I don't know if this is good for black. Probably not. Probably this position is already much better for white. Now we could have the move b4. Yeah, we have the move b4 indeed. And then knight c6 is calculated by Andscacs. So how to defend this pawn? Probably bishop back. Now the queen is defending the pawn. But you can never really castle. That's the problem. And this knight can jump in here to d4. But what to do with that bishop? That's the question. What to do with that bishop? Probably knight to c2 and bishop here exchange it for that knight. But then the other knight is coming into c5. So also this is not so clear. But white's position is to be preferred. This is a really nice knight here on c6. Okay, you have to be patient with this pawn pushes. I would have done this much earlier. Queen here, e6. Okay, this... How was the game continuation? Queen d2. Yeah, b6. And now knight d4. Followed up with knight b7. And now this kind of double pawn push. Gaining a move. Knight c6 now. Very good indeed. Queen c8 or queen to c7. That's the question now. Knight c6 and queen somewhere. Because you cannot really take, because the knight has no squares. But if you go here, bishop there, you can also defend the knight that way, so that this pawn keeps on defending this c5 pawn, square. So takes, the knight still, well, takes, and the knight has this square right here. But, oh, no, also this doesn't work because of that move. Attacking the knight, also x-raying the rook here. So also this doesn't work after bishop f3. So this might even be stronger. So yeah, this is quite amazing tactics here. So you cannot take it, and you cannot castle because this pawn would hang. And this also vacates the square for the queen here to e2. And also the rook file, the file for the rook is open, and also the diagonal for the bishop. So this bishop f3 is much better than my b5 move. That's cool, but yeah, let's see both evaluations. After bishop f3, Adscacs already thinks it's plus 2.74, and GreKo also thinks it's much better for white, and I also think it's close to losing for black. So GreKo is here in deep trouble. What to play here? Knight b7, d8. No, we have the move a5. a5, going after the pawn. a5, knight a3, b4. Here, yeah, again immediately going in for the next good square. You still cannot take here, because this knight still has no squares, and you still attack the rook via the bishop here. And you cannot even take the pawn, because if you take it, then bishop takes rook and there is no queen attacking the bishop now, so you lose a whole piece. And but you could go there. Maybe wait a bit. What? Bishop c6. Knight there. Okay, queen here. So it's even better. And this pawn is controlling that square, so the rook cannot defend the knight. Okay, now I understand this better. So that's why you cannot take. You have to move a5 and knight to b4, b5. Here, if you take this, then queen takes. Okay, the rook is defending the knight then, but... or rook takes even, but all white's pieces are very active and black is really on the defensive. So let's see, we have to move a5 and bishop to knight to b5. And what's GreKo coming up with? Bishop b5 probably. Bishop f5, attacking the rook. Rook to b3 most probably then. Yeah, something like this. Now GreKo is calculating the move bishop to f6. a5, knight here, and bishop to f6, preparing castling, so that the bishop is now defending this pawn. Yeah, it all looks pretty grim for black. We have to move bishop f6, and now queen h6, preventing castling. This is what Adscacs thinks is a good move, preventing castling. There is no castles now. And the king also cannot move, so... yeah. Also this bishop has now scope, probably coming into f4, threatening that pawn. Let's try some... yeah, what is black's move? Probably taking there, bishop f4. And what now? The king can't move. The queen can't move. The bishop... let's try the bishop. Can you go something like this and with a rook check then? Yeah, but now the king has this square right here, so this is not working. So you have to play bishop f5 at some point. It's probably also the only piece you can move. A takes b4 you can also do. Probably a takes b4, bishop f3 takes g4. What? Bishop, no, knight c3, knight a4 c3. You can play now, knight c3, attacking the rook that way. But what is this knight doing after this? Going back? Yeah, you cannot do that much, so... okay, going back. Now bishop here. Threatening bishop takes, followed by rook here, so I can show this. See, the rook goes there, takes. Now bishop here and rook checkmate. Or you give up the bishop, it doesn't really matter, but this could be a threat at some point. But okay, bishop f5 is now the move. GreKo is calculating bishop f5. Attacking the rook. Still the same idea with knight to c3, also attacks the rook. Rook b3, bishop here, rook there. It's just moving around pieces. Looks as though. Bishop here attacking this pawn. Or even winning, no, not winning a pawn because the knight can always take back. But okay, bishop here. What about bishop takes, pawn takes, and knight here now, followed up with knight there? That's interesting, something to investigate later. Also, I saw something. The knight is also covering that square bishop f6 and queen here. So we have to move bishop f5 now, attacking the rook, trying to come out. And now bishop c1, g5. That's a nice sacrifice. Takes, takes, and you cannot take back because of knight takes here, winning the queen. So you'd have to move the rook, but then bishop takes, probably not to here, probably to there. Now bishop takes and black is falling apart. And even worse is if you take there, takes, threatening mate, and now the rook is still hanging. So, but f6, not sure. No, you cannot take there. f6, something to investigate later. f6, what about f6 here in that position? This would be a nice move to play, but the knight is also covering this pawn, this d6 pawn, so this is not working, and the rook is still hanging, so yeah, wait a bit, wait a bit, no, new variation, I don't care. Let's see, you take this, bishop takes, queen here, attacking the rook, but bishop there defends the rook. This all doesn't work. So bishop g5 we have on the board, sacrificing a rook or the exchange. Let's see, but white's position is so strong that I think you can afford to sacrifice a rook. GreKo is calculating this, that, and queen here to defend against the mate. But what about f6? Isn't f6 nice? Well, okay, the queen can go back. New variation, so it's still threatening checkmate. So I think that's why f6 is not the greatest of all moves. And now you have to play queen d7, and but I don't know, maybe the king can approach here and then the rook can come there. So yeah, could be played, but queen d7 immediately is best, I think. But let's investigate, before we do all that, let's investigate bishop takes rook again. Takes, takes, and queen here check. Probably that's the reason why this is not working. Not knight takes here because this knight is defending this d6 pawn. And now if you go there, then this is checkmate. So you'd have to go there. No, queen here check, but the king is quite safe there. So what about queen here? Attacking the rook and the pawn, so the rook has to move. And now here threatening mate. Queen here defending. But now rook there check, and it's all over. It's all over. Even this doesn't work. It's still mate because of the rook. So yeah, and then other square you don't have for the queen to defend against the mate. King d7 loses due to queen e7. So that's why you cannot take the rook. That's why GreKo took the bishop and played the queen to d7. And now rook b e1, most probably going after this pawn. But still, yeah, well, if you castle, this is just a terrible position. You cannot even castle because of taking there. But this is probably still the best you can do, or taking even with the rook. New variation, attacking the queen. Yeah, black's position is falling apart here. Slowly but surely, very nice tactical, very nice attack by Andscacs. Queen here. And now queen d7 we have on the board, rook b e1. Now, and now e5. Yeah, e5 is desperate. GreKo thinks it's plus 4.58, so white is clearly winning. And Adscacs is even on plus 10 for white, so this is over. e5, Adscacs gives castles as best move. e5 looks desperate and is probably desperate, but castles is also desperate. But what to do about this e7 pawn? Rook takes e7, it threatens, and this is gonna be mate. So e5, and if you take there, then probably taking the knight. But then you can take there with check. And this is terrible. This is just terrible. Yeah, well, what to do here? If you go there, then you lose due to that double check and mate. And if you go there, then also this check is coming. Now check, winning a whole rook. And still, also the queen is hanging. So this doesn't work. You can just take en passant, and it's all losing. Just take en passant, and what to do? What to do? Probably taking here with the bishop or with the pawn. We have e5. E takes e5, f takes e6. So probably something like this. But what about g5 here? Or yeah, g5, bishop here, and queen there, attacking the rook. And if rook there, counter-attacking the queen, then you have this check. You have to take it with the queen, and this is... It's already checkmate, or isn't it? Yeah, sure, it's checkmate, all the squares are covered. So g4 could be a move there, just to attack the bishop. Something like this. But GreKo thinks that bishop takes e6 is even... Yeah, it's all losing, but bishop takes e6. Let's see, queen there, rook there. Now we have f takes e6. Bishop takes e6 would also lose, but let's investigate this later, maybe. Yeah, GreKo also thinks that g4 is a move. Thereafter f takes e6, the move g4. This is my line. But Adscacs thinks that queen f6 is even better. What about that? Check. Yeah, but the bishop is defending the queen. So this is not working. So you kind of have to move the queen again. But where? Queen f6, knight c5 is what Andscacs thinks, so this has to be losing one way or the other. Queen f6, probably knight here check. You cannot go anywhere with the king, so you have to take with the queen. And then rook takes here check. If you go there, then you lose the queen. Or the rook, or you got mated, so both probably, so check. And check mate, because the knight is also covering this square, so this is the only... no, the knight is still covering, but this is just terrible. And I'm sure there is a mate. Somewhere at least. And if not, this is just... No. Takes, and not taking the rook even. And you're just up a lot of material. So this doesn't work. And if you take this, then taking there is checkmate. So this is probably the idea behind that. Sacrificing a lot of pieces to get this knight c7 check in. Very nice, I have to say. Rook g8 is calculated. What about knight c7 now? Takes. Rook takes here. Okay, can go there. Check. You can't do anything in between. You can't go there, you can't go there, so you have to go there. Then taking the rook. The knight blocks. Now knight takes here, queen takes there, queen takes there, takes, and you are still up the exchange. But this is not so clear. This is not so clear-cut winning, but it's still winning. Rook takes e6 immediately. Oh, because you have this check later. Oh, rook takes e6 is rook g8. Rook takes e6 is also nice, followed by bishop takes check, and now knight check here. It doesn't really matter. Takes, and now bishop there, securing the king to the rook. So, but it's not so clear cut. Still, now this is now losing for white, actually. But, okay, we have rook takes e6. What about queen takes e6? No, queen takes e6 doesn't work, so you have to take with the bishop. Bishop takes e6 is the move. Bishop takes e6. Now rook fe1, just for that pin. And this is winning. This is absolutely winning. This is just terribly strong. No, this is terribly strong. We have plus 11 and plus 19, so white is so winning here in that position. It's a massacre. It's a massacre here. Massacre on the board. GreKo is going down. The king in the center, it's never a good idea. And against engines you see why. Against first class engines, or even second class engines like Andscacs 0.91. It's not the latest version of Andscacs, but Andscacs is a primary division from TSEC engine, so it's quite strong. GreKo is like a no-name engine. Rook fe1, and I think after rook fe1 it's over. There is nothing you can do. There were a lot of tactics in the position, and now the last piece is coming into the attack. And yeah, black has already fallen apart. Yeah, this bishop, there were a couple of really impressive moves. Really good moves by Andscacs. And now let's see how Adscacs finishes this off. Rook fe1 and white can resign. Black can resign. There is nothing. No, there is nothing. This knight on c6 is just a monstrosity. A really good piece. Rook fe1, knight c5, desperate now. B takes c5, knight takes c5, and bishop to d5. Just attacking the pinned piece one more time. So which knight? Knight ac5. This is what will be played, just to defend the bishop, but then bishop to d5, attacking the pinned piece one more time, and you cannot defend it anymore. And the king is there, so it's over. It's a mate in a couple of moves. It's terrible. Let's say the rook goes there, and then bishop takes, even. Rook takes. No, that's also not so clear cut. Yeah, okay. GreKo resigned the game. So let's see. It was a 22 move miniature, I think. And let's ask not GreKo, the winner of this match, some questions. So 4 plies, not plies, 4 threads, treats, something. So let's see how long they played the book. Opening tips. So this was the given position here. This was the given position. Knight f3, g6, bishop g7, castles. Castles is the main move here. The knight c6 is already, this is already the mistake. Knight a5 and knight here. Defending on c4. Bishop d7, Adscacs gives, rook d1, knight a4, queen d2, b6, knight d4, knight b7, b3, knight here, b4, and now knight c6. This is incredible stuff. Bishop f3, what were the questions here? Queen h6, bishop g4, and bishop g5. Bishop takes g5, queen takes g5. This I all understood. Now rook takes and rook here. So let's investigate this position a little bit. So let's say you go there. You take c5, knight takes c5, and what about bishop d5 now, of course. Rook g7, everything else is a mate. What about this? Yeah, well, this is clearly mate. You just take with the rook, there is no escape. Square, queen takes, and this is mate. No, sorry about that. So what is the mate? Knight c7 check. Yeah, this is the mate. You have to take, and now rook takes e6, knight takes e6, only move, queen here, and this is checkmate. So that's why he resigned. This knight c7 threat is the move. No, not rook takes e6. Sorry, knight c7 check is the move. This you can delete. Here GreKo resigned the game. Didn't even play the next move, but if he did, then we would have this continuation. And this is a mate now, mate in 6 with knight c7. check. This is amazing. Knight c7, and yeah. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.